today's video is going to be another continuing series I am in the middle of. And yes, these are all romance series, but I did tell you guys I was going to try and continue more of these series in April because, like I said, I was not going to have enough time to read all of these in March. So these are the three that I would like to continue. So the first one, obviously, is A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch, and this is the second book in the Glimmer Falls series by Sarah Hawley. As you guys know, I read the first one back in the beginning of March, and I gave that book a 5 stars. I absolutely loved it. So I'm going to pick this up probably right after I read my book club pick later this week, because I have to read that first. And then I was going to pick this up probably right before Great Big Beautiful Life comes out, like probably next weekend. Yeah, probably next weekend is when I'm going to pick it up, because I always have to look at my calendar to see how much time I have to read. I might start reading this tomorrow, possibly, though, but I was going to start reading my book club pick tomorrow, and then I have Watch Me, which is Tahira Mafi's new book in the Shatter Me series. I have to read that. And then the 17th, I'm probably going to try and finish up Kiss of the Basilisk, and then I was going to read this the 18th or the 19th. So the 18th and the 19th, I probably should be able to get this done. So yeah, I'm going to read this. And then the next book, I'll probably read this right before Great Big Beautiful Life comes out, and that is When in Rome by Sarah Adams. Technically, this is the first book. It is the first book, but the author says that you can read these out of order. You can read them in whatever order you want, and it really does not affect your reading experience whatsoever. I saw it from the author's words on Google that it said that it really doesn't matter. I only saw one person say that you need to read these in order, but I just saw what the author said. It's not like Abby Jimenez's Worlds, where you really do need to read them in order, because you get a lot more background and you get more cameos of other characters in the previous books. All right, this really tastes like soap again. I thought it didn't, but it does. I'm gonna have to put it in another glass. So this is the first book, but I really do want to read this before the month is over. It's really, really short. It's not even like 300 pages, I think. I think it's like, or maybe it's just 300 pages. Yeah, it's 305 pages. So going to be really easy. I really, really enjoyed Big Borrowed Steel from Sarah Adams. So I think I talked about these in the last video, but I don't know why I didn't just make a part 2. It's not like I was going to have time to read 6 books in one video. I mean, I could have, they were on my TBR, but I finished the Beartown trilogy, so last month. But yeah, I'm going to continue reading that, and I really, really do want to read another Sarah Adams book. And then this one, I'm actually currently reading the first book, so I do want to read the second book before the month is over, and that is Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage. So the first 2 books were on my TBR for this month. I'm going to try and read the 2 other books, which is Lost and Lassoed, and Wild and Wrangled actually comes out the 15th as well. It comes out the same day as Watch Me. So I'm currently reading, I just started reading Done and Dusted yesterday, because I had just finished Fearless, so we're definitely going to be reading these 2 this month. So far this is just a fun palette cleanser. This was such a perfect read for me to pick up after I finished Fearless, because that book was nuts. That book was nuts. So that was a roller coaster of emotions, so I just needed a good palette cleanser. So these were already on my TBR this month anyway. So, but also I'm reading these right when the 4th book comes out, but that's what I really wanted to do. And also I didn't want to read these in the winter time. These were much more like spring summer reads for me. So I'm hoping I can pick up Lost and Lassoed next month. I already have it, but I would like to read it next month. But as long as I read the first 2 books in April, then that was fine with me. It's not like this is a series like I have to finish right away. And then I think I'm going to keep it at 3, because I feel like 3 is my sweet spot for these videos, but because I don't know how many other ones I'm going to be able to continue after I finish those three, I mean, I'm probably just going to read Swift and Saddle like towards the end of the month, because after I read, because I still have Great Big Beautiful Life from Emily Henry, and then I will have read all the April releases I wanted to read, so that's good. But I do want to read Firefly Lane after Great Big Beautiful Life, and then I'm probably going to do Swift and Saddle, and then that should probably be fine. I should have time to read all of those. And then depending on, I'm probably going to end up finishing the month with Deep Cuts, because everybody's reading that book right now, and that book is only like 260 pages, so I think that would be a great way to end the month, because it's super easy, it's super short, and if I read that, Firefly Lane, then Swift and Saddled, and then Deep Cuts, I think that's a good way to end the month. But then we'll only not be getting to like 3 books on my TBR, which is actually not half as bad as I thought. I mean, there was Practice Makes Perfect and the 3rd book in the Glimmer Falls series, but I'm just going to save those for May. So I'm going to do Practice Makes Perfect, Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire, and Lost and Lassoed next month, hopefully, because out of all of those, I'm definitely going to finish Glimmer Falls, because I have to. That's probably going to be the first book that I read in May, because I really just want to finish that series, because it's just so good. And if I finish it in May, like May 2nd, I will be so happy, because the new releases don't start coming out until the 6th and the 7th. So I really wanted to read the 3rd book in the Glimmer Falls series and Practice Makes Perfect before the new releases come out. So once I do that, I will have finished both series. So I think I'm just going to do that. And then after that, we'll just try and fit in Lost and Lassoed as like a short palette cleanser in between all. There's literally like 10 or 11 new releases coming out in May. And I just caught up with like the March releases that I really wanted to read that I wasn't able to read last month, because like I said, I only read like 2 or 3 last month. And then I read another 3 this past week and a half. I did You Killed Me First by John Mars, Night Weaver by R.M. Gray, and Our Infinite Fates by Laura Steven. All very highly rated. They were so good. And then also I've been reading the April releases that I've wanted to read, which is Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez, of course. I read The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. I read Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. And then I just finished Fearless yesterday by Lauren Roberts. So all I've been doing is reading new releases the past week and a half. And then those 3 March releases. So, yeah. So I have read most of the March releases I really wanted to get to, and also the April ones as well, because I knew I was going to read the April ones as they come out, because there was like 4 highly anticipated releases that were coming out, which is Enchantra, Say You'll Remember Me, Fearless, and Watch Me. So I had to read all of those. I was so excited for them. But after I finish Watch Me, I'm probably going to read Kiss of the Basilisk, unless I need another palette cleanser, because Watch Me is also a fantasy, but I think I'll be okay reading Kiss of the Basilisk, and then I'm going to want to read like something super short. So we'll just pick up one of these. The only reason why I'm a little hesitant to pick this up is because it's over 400 pages. Like the first book was 369 pages. I'm like, why is this one so much longer? But also I know I'm going to have a great time with this, so I think I am going to pick it up right after Kiss of the Basilisk, and then like I said, I'm going to go into When in Rome, and then we will do Great Big Beautiful Life, obviously. It's a lot of romances, but it's fine. I'm looking forward to all of them anyway. And then I'm going to do Firefly Lane by Chris and Hannah. I don't know if I said that. I really need to read that. That's been on my TBR for this month, and I'm dying to read another Chris and Hannah book, so I think that'll be a good book to break up some of the romances. And then I'll do Swift and Saddle, because I know my heart will be broken. And then again, I'm probably just going to finish the month with Deep Cuts, because I think that would just be way easier. So yeah, that's it. Oh, also, I'm going to try. I'm probably not going to be able to have time to read this, but I'll probably just hopefully squeeze it in next month. But I don't even know if I'm going to be able to read it next month either. Let me see. So if I do Watch Me, obviously on the 15th, I'm going to finish Done and Dusted and then read more Kiss of the Basilisk tomorrow. Then Watch Me, then finish Kiss of the Basilisk, then do A Demon's Guide, I mean, and then When in Rome, Great Big Beautiful Life, Firefly Lane, Swift and Saddled. I still have 3 days before the month is over, so I probably could do The Bullet That Missed on the 28th or 29th, or do The Bullet That Missed the 26th or the 27th, and then do Swift and Saddled, and then finish the month with deep cuts. I could just binge deep cuts on the 30th, or just read that 30th into the 1st. Like, it's not a huge deal if I don't finish it, but that would be, like, the easiest book for me to try and finish, because it's only, like, 260 pages. So I think I would have time. So I am going to try and read, because I think I said that in the last video that I did this, and I had this for a while. It's actually on my Libby. How much longer do I have on it? It says 5 days, so I want to read The Bullet That Missed by Richard Osman, and I've been having it on my Libby app and on loan for a while, so I really do want to continue the series. So I think I'm going to end up picking that up. I think right before Swift and Saddled. I think that would be perfect. So yeah, I think we're going to read that too. We should have time. So yeah, that's it. Bye. And I will check in with you guys when I start A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch. So bye. Okay, so hey there guys. So I wanted to tell you guys which book I ended up starting to read for this series. Well, for this video, I mean not for this series. I wanted to say which book I ended up starting. So I went in with When in Rome by Sarah Adams. I just decided to read this one after I finished Done and Dusted, even though I did say I was going to go into A Demon's Guide, but I don't know. I kind of like wanted to start another Sarah Adams book, and also, like I said, I've only read one book from all of these authors out, actually, because I only just read my first Lila Sage book. I just finished that earlier, which was Done and Dusted. And it was cute. It was fun. But this is only my second Sarah Adams book. And then if I go into Swift and Saddle, that'll be my second book by Lila Sage. And then going into Demon's Guide will be my second book by Sarah Hawley. So there's 2 Sarahs in this video. Sarah and Lila. Oh my god. So I'm on page 37 of this. And I actually started the audiobook because the audiobook is free from the library. So I just borrowed it from there, from my Libby app. And so far, I think this is hysterical. It might be a bit Insta attraction, which like, obviously, if you meet someone and your first impression would be that you think they're pretty or you think they're hot or handsome, then that's different. But, like, they're already saying, like, I couldn't stop thinking about this person all night because, like, she gets stranded, like, in the middle of his town because she's going to visit, like, I think it's her grandmother or her mother or something. And she's, like, a famous pop star, and she has, like, this old, like, rundown Toyota Corolla, which I thought was so funny because I have a Toyota Corolla. Oh my god, Kaylin, it's one unique car. It's not like it's the #1 car in the world. I mean, it's a Toyota Corolla. So, I don't know why I cannot get comfortable right now. It's driving me bonkers, and I'm so freaking tired. Oh my god, why is this doing this? Why is this ruining my life? Jesus Christ. I don't know what the hell's going on. Alright, that's better. But so far this is really cute. So, it's about this girl named Amelia, and the guy's name is Noah. And Amelia, I believe, or actually, I guess she's visiting one of her sisters, or is Noah one of the brothers from the 3rd book? Because I recognize Noah's name. I don't recognize Ray's name, so she just drives off to take a break. I don't know if her family lives there. she just like heard about Rome, Kentucky because she loves the movie Roman Holiday. So far I think it's really cute. It's actually giving me serious Gilmore Girls vibes because it is a small town romance, and I felt like that was exactly what I was in the mood for right now. And also, this is pretty short and sweet. And I just wanted to read this before Watch Me comes out because I am going to be continuing that series, but it is a new series in the Shatter Me universe. But basically, I think you would have to read Shatter Me in order to read Watch Me. It is a start of a new series, though, so it's not really continuing a series, but you really should read Shatter Me in order to read that. But anyway, this is really cute, so I'm going to continue reading this. And I really do enjoy Sarah Adams' writing because so far it's really, really funny. And it's definitely keeping me entertained so far. And I just really want to just light, short reads right now. Because I was feeling a bit slumpy after Fearless. So I feel like these really short romance reads are just absolutely perfect right now. And I'm glad I actually started like my physical TBR. Because, like I said, the first like week and a half of this whole month, I was reading just new releases because, and also, where the hell is this year going? It's fucking April 14th already. Like, can time slow down just a little bit? Just a little bit? All right, that's it. Bye.
Okay, so hey there, guys. So I'm about to leave to see to actually see my best friend's girlfriend. Like I said, I was gonna come over and we're gonna bake together, and I didn't even make the connection that I picked the perfect book for me to bake today because literally Noah's a fucking baker. And I'm like, I didn't even think about it until after, literally today. I'm like, why didn't I realize this last night? Probably just because I was tired and I was like, I was buzzed last night. Obviously, I stopped drinking around like 7:30, so like I was fine driving home. But because I didn't drive home until like 11:30, so it was like I stopped drinking like 4 hours before that. But I just think it's so funny that I'm like, I didn't even make that connection because I actually haven't baked in a hot second. Like the last time I baked something, maybe it was the gingerbread loaves for Christmas. I really haven't baked anything because like we don't really bake anything until like Easter pretty much. So anyway, I just think it's funny. So this is Noah's story, basically. I mean, it's mostly about Amelia, but Noah is the brother of the three sisters that the When in Rome series is about. There's Emily, Madison, and I think Annie. I can't believe I remembered those, but I literally just read about them like a couple chapters ago. And he is the oldest brother. And Emily is the oldest sister. And she's always acted like she is the oldest. But also, like, I feel like Noah's a bit more independent in this than how Sarah Adams paints him in Big Bar or Steel. But like I said, it's not ruining the reading experience whatsoever for me. Like, it's just like, oh, you can see when the sisters were first introduced, and that's about it. Like, it's really not a big deal. But it's not like it spoiled anything for me reading the third book first. That's what I'm saying. Like, with Part of Your World, it's different. I would say to read those in order. The same thing with The Friend Zone. Like, even though she does claim they're interconnected standalones, like, you really should read them in order. But this, like, it really doesn't matter. So, anyway, so Amelia gets stranded in this town, and she ends up staying with Noah overnight. But then, like, since her car still isn't fixed yet, she's not able to stay at this bed and breakfast that he wants her to go to. By the way, I'm on page 134, so I did get another, like, pretty much 100 pages more in. I read, like, 40 pages earlier, and then I just listened to the last couple of chapters, and then I am going to listen to it in the car back and forth. The audiobook is just so much fun. And I'm so glad I was able to just get it from the library. But I am going to read quite a bit of it when I get home. And then I'm probably going to finish it tomorrow. I'm not going to finish it today, probably. But I want to get up to at least like over page 200. And then I can finish it during the day tomorrow. And then I'll be ready to read Watch Me literally tomorrow night. Because I'm actually going to go pick it up at Barnes & Noble with my friend. With my best friend. I'm going to see his girlfriend today. But I just think it's so funny I ended up picking this book. So basically, like, she really needed a break from, like, her pop star life, and that's why she's in this town. It's not because she's going to visit somebody. And also she has a really strained relationship with her mother, because her mother always, like, just, even though she, loved her mother growing up and they had the best relationship, it was only her and her mom, and her dad, like, wanted nothing to do with them, a strange dad. Like, that's a lot of, very similar tropes in romance books. It's always an estranged dad and a single mom, or like a single father and a estranged mom, but usually it's single mom. So anyway, so she has to stay with Noah, and he, like, wants her not to stay there, but also I'm kind of feeling like this is, like I said, a little bit insta-lovey. I mean, I understood, like, the attraction between them, but what's funny is that Abby Jimenez literally says this is a slow burn romance on the front blurb, and I didn't even realize that Abby had a blurb on this. But also, they already kissed like 75 pages in. I'm like, that is not a slow burn romance. I would say it's a forced proximity romance, definitely, because she's now staying with him. But also, it's only been, I think they only had known each other like 2 or 3 days, and then they were already kissing. And I'm like, but it was kind of cute though, like the way it's done, because Sarah Adams is such a good writer. I just think her writing so fast paced, so entertaining, so much fun to read, and it's hysterical. But I can tell that I did like Beg, Borrow, or Steal more than this one, because they were originally friends. I would say that this is like kind of enemies to lovers, but also, Amelia doesn't hate him. Like, she's just looking for like a genuine friendship. She's not really looking for romance, but obviously we all know they're going to end up falling in love. But if they fall in love after like a week, I'll be like, that's literally like so insta-lovey. So I'm hoping like he'll be like, please stay, and like, or she's going to say like, how is this going to work? So it's kind of similar to like Happy Ever After Playlist by Abby Jimenez. So I'm actually happy that Abby Jimenez wrote a blurb about it, because she literally wrote a very similar romance to this. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I gotta go. So I will check in with you guys probably not until I'm done with this, because I'm like about almost halfway through, which would be like about around 150 or something. So I will check back in probably when I'm done with it. But so far I'm just having a great time, and I'm so glad that I chose this, because it was just easy to finish before I read Watch Me Tomorrow. So that's it. Bye.
Hey there, guys. I wanted to let you guys know that I did finish When in Rome. I finished this in a day because I listened to quite a bit of the audiobook today, but I did actually read 100 physical pages of the book today. So I listened to probably almost maybe like 150 pages of it today, and I read the rest of it physically, so I'll take that as a win. I still read 100 pages today. And I'm settling on a 3.75 stars for this. Because like I said, the insta-love was annoying me with this, so I couldn't quite give this a 4-star. But like I've said, I've literally not read a bad book this month so far. Even Done and Dusted was the lowest rated book that I've read so far, which is a 3.5. It wasn't a bad book, but it wasn't a great book. Just all the books that I've been reading haven't been dragging. They haven't been bad reads. Like, as long as a book can make me laugh, like there was some moments in Done and Dusted that made me laugh, even though it wasn't the best book ever written. There's a difference between like, and it's not just, I mean, these books have been serving their purpose for me in the moment, but also, like I said, like, these books are actually on my TBR this month, and like I said before, I was only able to, sorry, I'm itchy, my stupid eczema leg, like, never stops bothering me, hold on, sorry, even though, I didn't, like I said, start my actual TBR until
Well, it's not like I didn't start my actual TBR because I've been reading all the new releases that I said I was going to read this month. But also, I wanted to start my actual TBR of like either series I wanted to continue, like this series. And like I said before, you really didn't have to read the other books before you read this one first. You can pretty much read these in any order. There was like this adorable scene though, where Noah, like, which you do find out later in the books that he's scared of thunderstorms, but also you found out now. And it was so cute that Noah was the one that was more afraid of thunderstorms than um Amelia. But also like during that part they were realizing how in love they were. And it's like it was only like a few days that they had spent together, and then they pretty much thought that they were in love after like a week of her being in the town. And also this plot reminded me of a lot of what Pumpkin Spice Cafe took the plot from. A lot of people say like that those books like would steal plots from other books, and it was definitely very heavily influenced by this book because I was getting so much Gilmore Girl vibes with this book, and it's a small town romance, which honestly I was craving, and it was so perfect to read. Like I said, when I was baking with my friend, it was so much fun earlier. But anyway, so basically, throughout the rest of the book, they're basically trying to figure out how they're going to be together because she is a pop star and she has to go back on tour. She can't stay with Noah in the town, but at the same time it kind of annoyed me a little bit because they were already in love after a week, and she's like, I'm gonna leave everything for this man. I was just, I don't know. It was a little bit shallow, but at the same time, it was really cute. Because it was adorable how much she could trust Noah, and again, it's not like, excuse me, she wasn't living with him for the past week, but at the same time, it's like you don't really know someone after a week. Like, how are you supposed to, like, it could be something, but the fact that they were in love already, I was like, dude, you could have just said, like, can we give this a shot, you know? And then a couple months later, it would have been better. Honestly, it would have been, this book needed an epilogue, and I feel like that would have wrapped it up better for me because it could have said like 3 months later, and you know, Noah could have said how much he enjoyed that she stayed and that they worked their relationship out because he knew he wanted to keep on loving her and like the same thing for her. So they were trying to figure out a compromise as to like what they would do while she's away on tour, like if they were going to give it a shot or not, and they did. So it was cute. And I love that it was it's also a modern Roman holiday retelling. That's why it's based in Rome, Kentucky. But also that thunderstorm scene, that he's afraid of thunderstorms, that was in Beg, Borrow, or Steal, like, which is the third book in the series, and it's Emily's story, which she does play a significant role in this one, and she basically was like the head of, you know, when thunderstorms happen with their family, she would always be comforting Noah and like their siblings, because like he wasn't really sure what to do, and now you really understand why he's like that, because there was like something traumatic that happened to them growing up. So yeah, it was really cute. I'm really tired because it's super late, but yeah, that's about it. I don't remember what else I was going to say because I'm too tired. So bye.
Okay, so hey there, guys. So before I get into what book I decided to pick up next in this video, I just wanted to say I was talking for a good 5 minutes and then it decided to connect to my phone camera. So all that footage was just lost. So now I have to talk again because, you know, God forbid anything goes smoothly for me in my life. So the one I decided to pick up next was A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch by Sarah Hawley. I picked this up earlier today. I started the audiobook because I borrowed it from Libby, of course. And also I kind of wanted to
start something that I knew I was going to be able to start listening to, because I love listening to audiobooks whenever I'm not able to read a physical book or something on my Kindle. And whoever says audiobooks aren't reading, shut the fuck up, okay? Like, I don't even care anymore. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, honestly? Like, I really feel like making like a TikTok on where I wouldn't actually be driving. I would just be sitting in my driveway and being like, "Hey, what are you doing, ma'am?" Like, a police officer would pull me over and I'd be like, "Oh, well, I was told that audiobooks aren't really reading and I didn't want to put my book down, so I decided to start reading while I was driving." That's obviously okay, right? Like, what am I really going to do that while I'm driving? No, I would put on a fucking audiobook because, like, do I want to die? No. Do I want to crash into another car? No. Do I want to get pulled over? No. So it just pisses me the fuck off. But anyway, so this is the second book in the Glimmer Falls series, and I've been wanting to pick this up for a while now, because one of my goals for 2025 was to actually read this series and finish it. So once I finish the third book, I'm going to be so happy. Because then at least I will have read a series that's been on my TBR for so long. And these books are just so easy. And also, I just wanted to pick up something that I had the audiobook of because, like I said, I'm seeing my friend tomorrow. So, and I know I'm, like, going to go out, like, earlier afternoon. So, anyway, this one is about Mariel's best friend, Caladia, and the demon's name is Moloch. And he's the demon that tries to steal Mariel's soul with Ozroth's help, I mean, and Moloch is basically like the head of hell, and Moloch doesn't remember anything from the first book. Like, something happened, so he doesn't remember anything that happened with Mariel and Ozroth. So he meets Caladia because Caladia, like, hears him, like, crying for help, so she goes to help him. And she thought he was just like a regular magical being. She didn't think he was a demon, you know, because she heard him crying for help. And, you know, obviously that ends up meaning that she has to help him. But also he doesn't have anywhere to stay. So he ends up staying with her for one night. And that's very similar to what happened in the first book. So I don't think I'm going to love this one as much as the first book because it's already a very similar plot. And, you know, like, her mother doesn't approve of her, but we know that Caladia's mother is the mayor of Glimmer Falls, and we found that out in the first book, and we knew that she was an evil piece of shit. But then something happens, so then her and Moloch, after he stayed one night, they have to go stay with her mother, and she's like, great, I now have to stay with my overbearing, disapproving mother, so that's what I'm up to right now, and it's so funny so far. So, yeah, I'm having a really good time. I'm on page 85, chapter 10, so, and I also wanted to pick up something before the weekend because I have to read my book club pick on Friday, so I figured I could probably squeeze in one more book, even though this book is over 400 pages. It's really not going to take me that long, and also all I'm going to do is read after dinner because my brother's having people over for something. I don't even know if they're going to be in the living room or in the basement. So I'm just chilling because I literally went out the past 3 days. So tonight I just wanted to relax. And like I said, I'm seeing my friend tomorrow. So I want to get as much of this read as I can. But also I've been sleeping like absolute shit. So it depends on like whether or not I start falling asleep while I'm reading this. But also I wanted to pick up something that wasn't on my Kindle. I wanted to pick up something on my physical TBR because... And this is on my physical TBR for the month, and I've been wanting to work on, you know, actual backlist books that were on my TBR this month rather than new releases. I mean, I just finished a new release earlier today, which was Watch Me by Tahira Mafi. I finished that book so fast. I started it yesterday, and I finished it this afternoon. So I tore through that book. So... but I wanted to read at least one more book before I read Kiss of the Basilisk, which is our book club pick. I have it right here. But I'm going to be reading it on Kindle, but I wanted to pick up the physical copy because this is going to be such a great memory after I finish this book and we officially start talking about our first book club pick. It's definitely an interesting book to start a book club with, but we're so excited. I did technically start it already. I'm only like 20 or 30 pages in, but I'm actually meeting my other book club bestie on Friday at Barnes and Noble so we can actually read the book together because she has now started reading it like a couple of days ago. So I'm nowhere near as much into it as she is, but if I finish this tomorrow night, then I will read that during the day on Friday so I can get a little bit more into it. And then we can read it together at Barnes on Friday. So that would be so much fun. So yeah, I wanted to squeeze this book in before Friday. So I think I'll be able to finish it by Thursday or like by Friday afternoon the latest. But so far this is fun. I don't know if I said I don't think I'm going to love it as much as the first book because the first book was like a combo of romance, spice, and magic, and it was like the perfect combo, and I just loved it so much. It was so much fun, and I ate that book up so hard, and I loved it because I gave that a 5 stars. I don't know if I said that either. Sorry. Like, since I'm not sleeping, like, I am forgetting what I'm saying every 5 seconds. But this one I think is probably going to be like a 4 star, but still it's just really fun, and I think Sarah Hawley's writing is absolutely hilarious. There's so many things that I'm just laughing my ass off at already. Because I went to go read this at the library earlier, so I borrowed the book from the audiobook from Libby. And also, since when I'm reading like older romances or like older books that have been out like a couple of years, it's much easier to just borrow the audiobook rather than like trying to get a new release audiobook. But I also ended up getting the Watch Me audiobook from Audible, so I'll just say that in my new release video. So yeah, I'm up to page 85, chapter 10, and I will check in with you guys later when I make some more progress, but so far it's just been a really, really fun time. So bye. So you guys, I finished A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch already. I don't think I made any halfway updates of me reading this book because as soon as I pick up these books, they're so easy to binge, and I actually made a mistake on like how many pages are in this book. Because I was counting the preview for the third book as the page count at the end of this book. I didn't realize it was only 389 pages. I thought it was like over 400 pages, but actually the last book is over 400 pages. It's like 409 pages. So it's not even that long. But I am so happy that I read this and I'm actually reading this series because this series has been on my TBR for so long, and I just have such a fun time with Sarah Hawley's writing. She is hysterical. There's so many moments where I just laugh out loud, and you just have a fucking good time with her books. And her smut writing, I love it. I love it. She really is not afraid to use certain words, and I love it. They're not cringe, they're just hot, and they're just fun, and they're just a good time. But I do think that this book was a little bit too repetitive of the first book, but I still gave it a 4 stars. I still had such a great time. It's just such a good palate cleanser, but I wasn't really feeling, as, attached to this story as much as I was with the first one. I thought the first one was just so good. I gave the first one a 5 stars, but I'm just so happy that I now have finished the second book and I now only have one more book left, which is A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire. So basically, this had like the same plot as the first book where Caladia basically has to try and get Astaroth to be immortal again, and that's basically the whole plot. And he is a half demon. He's always been like a kind of hybrid. Oh, Monica answered me. Yay. Demon, and basically he has always had to like fight for like his demon rights, and that was kind of like the same thing in the first book where Mariel had to protest against Caladia's mother, but now they were running a protest against the king of demons, which is Moloch. And Moloch has always claimed that like hybrids aren't really real demons. It's just a fun time, and even though I feel like, I mean, I loved the romance between them, but again, it felt very repetitive of the first book, but this formula works, okay? It's fun, and I love like all her plays um on like certain terms in this book, like Wikipedia for Wikipedia, or there was this one that I was literally dying at, Craigslist. They made it Hagslist, and I was laughing so fucking hard. It's just things like that that makes it really so funny. And then YouTube is GhoulTube. It's just hilarious. So basically it says, when Caladia saves someone from a demon attack one night, which I explained before, she's happy to put her magic and rage to good use until she realizes the man she saved is none other than Astaroth, the ruthless demon who orchestrated a soul bargain on her best friend. And that's basically the whole rest of the book. And they're trying to, get his immortality back. That's basically what happened. And then obviously you knew that they were gonna fall in love with each other. So it was just really cute. I really enjoyed it. So yeah, that's basically it. I don't really have anything else to say. I did listen to a lot of the audiobook of it today. I think I only read like 50 pages of it physically, but hey, it's still 50 pages. Because I read like the last 30 pages myself because I was listening to a lot of it, because I was pretty much 75% of the way through or actually almost 80% of the way through by the time I left the house today. I really actually wanted to finish it at Bard's, but Bard's didn't have a copy of it, and all I had was the audiobook with me on Libby, and I was like, great, I'm just gonna go home and finish it, because I ended up not spending as long with my friend as I thought, but that's neither here nor there. So, I might just include this book in this video, because this is going to be the next book that I pick up, because I wanted to read The Bullet That Missed after I finished my book club pick, because now I need to go into my book club pick. So, because like, I was intending to wait to go into my book club pick by the end of the month, and I was going to wait until like the 28th to read it, but honestly, I want to read it now so I can devote the next couple of days to it, because it is going to take me quite a bit of time to finish it, and that is, like I said, Kiss of the Basilisk by Lindsay Strobe. This is supposed to be super smutty, and I'm so excited. I've been wanting to read more dark romance this year, so I'm so happy that we picked a dark romance. So I really just want to sink my teeth into this. And then I don't know if I'm going to have time for another book before Great Big Beautiful Life comes out, because I'm going to be reading Kiss of the Basilisk, but I'm probably going to finish that by Saturday night, hopefully, or just binge it on Sunday. But the fact that I finished A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch so much earlier than I thought. Like, I thought I was going to finish it tonight, but I finished it before I get into bed tonight. It's only 8:50 right now. I'm going to read that, now up until like I want to watch Desperate Housewives. So I want to get at least like maybe another 50 pages read tonight at least. But I'm going to read it on my Kindle, so I should be able to get that done. But I think the next book I'm going to go into for this is Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. I actually really just want to catch up with this series. And also, this book is still on my TBR for this month. And I didn't want to roll over both series that I'm in the middle of, because I'm already going to be in the middle of 2 series by the end of this month if I don't read A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire, which is the 3rd book in the Glimmer Falls series, but this is the 2nd book in the When in Rome series, and I figured I could just go into this, or at least start the audiobook on Saturday, because I'm going to need an audiobook to listen to Saturday, or I might even start it tomorrow, because it counteracts, reading a dark romance, but also then I will be all caught up with this series, and the goal was to at least finish 1 series this month. So again, I didn't have to carry it over into May. Even though these are interconnected standalones, I am really enjoying Sarah Adams' writing. So I think I am going to go into this one. So I will update you guys on my thoughts on this one as well. So I'll probably start the audiobook tomorrow. And then Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage, I was going to go into is probably my last book this month because these books are so damn bingeable and they're so short. This one is actually shorter than the first one. This one's only 285 pages, so I should be able to read this in like a day. So I'm just going to binge this at the end of the month. So then I'll only have Lost and Lassoed and Wild and Wrangled, and I'm probably going to read both of those in May. I'm definitely reading Lost and Lassoed in May, but Swift and Saddled, I would like to at least be halfway done through this series before the month is over. So if I make progress on both of these and I finish this series and I get halfway through this series, then I will feel really good about that. I don't know if I'm going to have time to go into A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire, but I will just carry that over into the next continuing series I'm in the middle of, which will be that last book in Glimmer Falls, The Bullet That Missed, because my Libby loan actually, this is what I was going to say, is that my Libby loan expires on that book by tomorrow, and I wasn't going to read it yet until next week because I wanted to read Kiss of the Basilisk this weekend, and also by the time I wanted to read it, it was going to be expired. But also, again, I wasn't going to pick it up until after like Firefly Lane next week because I really want to read that this month still. So I'm hoping to pick up that book the first week of May, and then I will include that one in continuing series I'm in the middle of because that will be the third book in the Thursday Murder Club series. And then I will also include Lost and Lassoed in that. So it'll be A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire, The Bullet That Missed, and Lost and Lassoed. So it won't be all back-to-back-to-back romance reads. It'll be like something a little bit different. And then by that point, I'll only have one book left in the Rebel Ranch series. I will have finished the Glimmer Falls series, which is honestly such an accomplishment for me. Because again, those books, well, actually the third book has been on my TBR the least amount of time because it came out in August last year. But I'm just so happy that I'm up to the third book. But we'll see if we have time for it because then I'll just like choose something else. But honestly, I really do want to just continue this series. And also the fourth book probably is not even coming out until next year, but I just feel like this is such a springtime read, so I feel like I have to read this now. And again, I don't want to overwhelm myself next month with all the new releases to pressure myself to finish another series. So I just want to be caught up with at least one. So yeah, we will see what happens. So yeah, I will check back in with you guys when I start Practice Makes Perfect tomorrow. So bye. Okay, so hey guys, so I forgot that I haven't really made an update on Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. So I actually have been just listening to the audiobook of this, but I think I'm going to switch to reading the physical book. I actually read 10 pages of it this morning. So I'm on page 160, so I'm pretty much halfway through, or a little bit. What am I halfway through? Hold on. I can't do math these days. 171, so I only have 10 more pages before I'm halfway through. And this one is about Annie and, which is, hold on, I'll explain it in a minute, and Will. So these books are based on 4 siblings, and there's 3 girls and 1 guy, and the first book was Noah's story, which he's the oldest brother, and then he has 3 younger sisters. So the second book is about Annie. So I believe she's the youngest sister. And then the third book, which is Beg, Borrow, Steal, which is the one that I read first, which again, it doesn't really spoil literally anything. I would say probably it was better for me to do When in Rome and then Practice Makes Perfect because I feel like reading this book, it gives you more background if you read the first book first. But I do like how the first book was written better than this one. This one's a little cringe. It's not really like my favorite. I've seen like mixed reviews on this one, but also I'm still enjoying it. Honestly, I have not read a bad book this month. So this might be my least favorite book, but honestly, like, it's really not bad. So, but I don't think this is going to be higher than a 3-star either. I haven't really found a 5-star lately, but I'm still reading Kiss of the Basilisk on my Kindle, but I also wanted to start the audiobook of this one. This book is crazy, but I'm almost done with this. So, but there is no audiobook, so I've been having to just read it on my Kindle. So with this, Annie is actually a virgin. She is very, people think that she's very naive because, you know, she doesn't really have that much experience, and Will is actually Amelia's bodyguard from the first book. And if you guys didn't know, Amelia was the other main character, and Noah was, you know, they were the love interests, obviously. God, why can't I speak? I'm like so tired because, again, my sleep schedule has been horrible. But anyway, and also my light went out, so I have to use this bright ass light above me. And when it's like daytime, it's just like so bright, so I usually don't use this light during the day, but it's fine. So anyway, so Annie really wants some dating advice, and the sister, I believe it was Mabel. Is Mabel one of the sisters? Because we have Emily, Annie, and I always forget the name of the other sister. It doesn't say on the back, but I know like that sister's story is going to be the fourth book, because we already had Noah, we already had Annie, we already had Emily, and then the last sister is going to be the last book, because that is the last book in the series, but it's not announced at all. So anyway, so she needs dating advice and like how to be on a date, because like she's pretty cringe, and like she's very like whatever comes to her mind, she like will just say to whoever she's out with, and sometimes it doesn't really work in her favor. So Will decides to, well, with the advice of one of Noah's sisters, he decides to help Annie out. Oh, and also Amelia says that you should, because you know they're really really good friends, because obviously since Will is Amelia's bodyguard, he, you know, is pretty close to Noah's family too. And Amelia is too, like she's friends with all the sisters, and obviously she's in love with Noah. So anyway, and I'm not spoiling anything because you already know that Amelia and Noah are going to fall in love, but I liked how the first book was written better than this one, even though the first book was very insta-lovey. This one, it's not as funnily written as When in Rome. Like, When in Rome, I feel like she was finding her comedic, like, skills writing, because her writing's really funny. And I, like, could tell that she was, like, warming up to, like, how funny her humor was. And then, like, Beg, Borrow, Steal, I got, like, similar vibes. The only thing, again, is that, and then people say that Beg, Borrow, Steal was the best book in the series, and I definitely agree, because the first two are not as good, but it doesn't mean that they're not fun. Like, I'm still having a good time. I also think it's because I don't really love the audiobook voices. They're kind of cringe to me, so I'm just going to read the rest of the book physically. I might listen to a little bit of it later. But today's Easter, so thank God I don't have to go anywhere. I'm so happy I don't have to drive today, because I've been driving a lot this week. So anyway, so they decide to, you know, like fake date. They're not really boyfriend and girlfriend though, but he is like taking her out on dates so she can like, and he's also helping her like, you know, initiate making out with somebody like at his place. And I'm like, damn, okay, like we're already taking it. And she also wants to practice kissing with him, and it's like, I don't even remember the last time I read a book like that. Because I know I've read a book that is similar to this, where they, like, fake, they, like, practice kissing together. I don't know if it was Yours Truly. I think it was, by Abby Jimenez. I don't know. I can't remember, but that was pretty much my only 5-star romance this month was Say You'll Remember Me. And then my only other 5-star this month was Our Infinite Fates. So I haven't really had many 5 stars this month, but at the same time, I've really liked every book that I've read. So honestly, I'm not complaining. And this is just a fun palette cleanser after I finish Kiss of the Basilisk and before I go into Firefly Lane. So, because I know Firefly Lane is going to be really heavy. Well, after this, I'm going into Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. But also, I thought that Great Big Beautiful Life was coming out tomorrow, but it's not coming out until Tuesday, so which is the day after tomorrow. So I'm going to be able to finish this book tomorrow, and then I can read Great Big Beautiful Life on Tuesday, because I was going to still probably finish this book tomorrow, but also I really wanted to start Great Big Beautiful Life tomorrow. I cannot speak. But since it's not coming out tomorrow, I didn't have to worry about it, so now I can just finish this one. So anyway, that's the update. So that's pretty much where they're at. Not much has really happened. Because I haven't really been paying that much attention, to be honest, but it's cute, all right? It's cute. It's not, like, the best romance ever. It's not like Say You'll Remember Me or Summer in the City, which were my last 2 5-star romances, so, yeah. That's really it. I'm gonna go. So the last book I read in this video is going to be Swift and Saddled by Lila Sage, and that's going to be the last book that I read this month. So, yeah, I don't really have anything else to say, I don't think. But, Will really likes Annie, and Annie really likes Will, but they're just, like, friends, but everybody knows that. And also, Will's very against, marriage, and, like, his brother just told him that he wants to get married, and he's, like, really upset that his brother is getting married, and it's like, dude, like, it's not your life. If he wants to get married, like, because, like, they had, like, a really bad, their parents had a really bad divorce, and, like, you know, he just, like, kind of swore himself off to marriage, and he's, like, the town playboy, but he's not, like, a bad, you know, boy. Like, he's not gonna, you know, ask a girl to sleep with him to, like, cheat on their boyfriends and stuff. He just, like, you know, doesn't do relationships. So, he just, like, hooks up. So, like, that's what's happening with him. And again, since Annie's, like, people think that she's really naive, but also she's, like, obsessed with books and romance novels and stuff. So, and she actually lends him this, romance book that's, like, you know, kind of smutty, and she's like, so what did you think of it? Because she was surprised that he even read it, because she thought that he wasn't going to, and she was trying to get him to say, like, what his favorite part was, and she was trying to get him to say that it was, like, the smuttiest scene, so that was funny. And there's, like, this other part when they're in the supermarket, and he pulls, like, this prank on her where she's not looking at, like, what he put in her hands, because she was distracted by him because, you know, she really likes him, and he ended up putting, like, a box of condoms into her hands, and by the time she looked down, she was like, and that was really funny. So yeah, that's basically, like, what their relationship is. But also, he would never sleep with Amelia. Like, he's always been friends with her. Like, also, she's his boss, like, and she's the one that he needs to protect because she's, like, a pop star. So, and she's still famous. Like, just because she's with Noah doesn't mean, you know, she just, like, quit touring and stuff, and she still has to deal with, like, paparazzi and stuff like that. So he obviously has to protect her, and yeah, that's pretty much it. So bye. Okay, so hey there, guys. I just wanted to let you guys know that I did finish Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. So I'm actually all caught up with the When in Rome series now. So I don't know when the next book is going to be coming out, but we literally have no idea, because literally the third book came out in this series back in January, like I said, Beg, Borrow, or Steal. And after reading all of these, I definitely agree. I know I said this before, but I definitely think that the third book, which was Beg, Borrow, or Steal, was definitely the best book in the series so far. This one, I don't think I liked as much as When in Rome, like I said before. So I think I'm going to give this a 3.5 out of 5 stars. It did have its cute moments. There were a couple parts that were a little cringe, like I said before, but some of it was really funny, but also this felt a bit unusual, almost like it felt like it was almost not written by the same person as the first and the third one, because again, even though this was not insta lovey in this, because Annie and Will had actually been friends for a while. So it's not like she didn't know him and he wasn't just like Noah and Amelia in the first book, where like Amelia was just stranded in town for like less than 2 weeks and then all of a sudden they fell in love already. But I do like how When in Rome was written more than this one, but it was still really cute. So again, a 3.5. So basically, like, for the second half of the book, and it was really cute the way that the way that they communicated was actually really nice, because they actually both Annie just straight up asked Will in like the middle of the book, because like basically he's preparing her to go out with other guys because she doesn't really have that much experience. She was still a virgin by the end of this book, by the way, because she wants to take things slow with Will. Obviously they end up together, I mean, duh. But I almost felt like, how is this going to come together? It felt a little bit rushed at the end, but it did make sense, and I like how she wrapped things up. But also, I feel like this could have been a bit longer, but also there is a bonus scene at the end of the book. I haven't read it yet because it wasn't included in the audiobook, because I borrowed it from the library. So I did read probably, I read like 60 pages yesterday, and then today, like physically, and then today I think I read like 70. So I still ended up reading, like 130 pages of this physically, and then I listened to the rest of it because I did start the audiobook like a couple days before that. So at least I need to read at least 100 something pages of the book, or I feel like it's not justifiable to have the physical copy. But I'm glad that I have these. Like, it's not like I'm going to give these away, because I think that this series is really cute. I actually like this more so than Next of Kin by Hannah Bonham Young. And I did like, again, When in Rome more than Next of Kin as well. But anyway, basically, in the middle of the book, Annie just asked Will straight up, because they started being more affectionate with each other and they ended up kissing. And she asked him a bit after that happened, she's like, do you have feelings for me? Because like at first it was supposed to be where they just were supposed to remain friends, because Will doesn't do relationships, like I said, and Annie only does relationships. So it was a cute concept. And she just asked him straight up, do you have feelings for me? And I thought that was really interesting that she just asked flat out, like, hey, what's going on? Because like, she's never really been that type of character, and I like how upfront she was about it. And he like didn't really answer her, and then like she kind of pushed him to tell her, but then he also said like, she said we can't do anything about it, we remain friends, and I try and go out with other people. But then like when she actually did, what? Weird, just a weird Instagram notification. But then when she tries to go out with another guy, that she had met like a couple days before that, and she told Will that she has a date, he tried to crash her date. And I thought that was a little bit messed up, because she was already feeling awkward about where they went, and then Will was like, yeah, you shouldn't really be. That was the only date that she went on, by the way. Like, she didn't end up going out with anybody else, which I thought was a little bit weird too. Like, it was kind of similar to the concept of First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. And that book was too long for what it was. But we did get more time with the main character in that book going out with other guys when she should just be with the first guy anyway. But we did get like a couple of dates in that book. But this, like, it was only one. And then it's like, Will was jealous and ended up being like the guy for her anyway. So I thought that was a little bit rushed too. But also like that first date didn't even happen until like page like 230, 240. So that was already like 240 pages into the book, and it was only 334 pages. So I felt like she should have went out with other guys a couple more times. But I do like a lot of the other background that we got about the other siblings in this book. So the fourth book is going to be Madison's story. That is her name. Mabel is like the town gossip. Like, these books really remind me of Gilmore Girls, and it's like very small town romance, which is really cute. But I think I'm going to end the video here because I think I'm going to read Swift and Saddled in the next continuing series I'm in the middle of video, because I'm going to read Swift and Saddled, The Last Demon Witch's Guidebook, and which is Glimmer Falls, which is a werewolf's guide to seducing a vampire. I'm definitely reading that in that video. Swift and Saddled, and The Bullet That Missed, because I did say I wanted to read The Bullet That Missed in this as well. How many times can I rhyme? But my Libby hold came through like 2 days ago of that, so now I want to read it sooner rather than later, and I think I'm going to read that probably as like the second book that I read in May, because I'm going to read A Werewolf's Guide to Seducing a Vampire right after that, right after Swift and Saddled. I'm going to read Swift and Saddled as the last book that I read in April. I should have time to read it. But I'm getting a little bit sick of romances right now, so I don't really want to read too many, even though I am going to read Great Big Beautiful Life by tomorrow, because it does come out tomorrow, by Emily Henry. I did hear it's more so women's fiction than more of a romance plot, which some people are a little bit upset about, that it's not really as romance heavy, because she is a romance author. But you know, I'm sure I'm going to enjoy it, but I think that will make more sense and it won't be as romance heavy. And then I was just going to go into Swift and Saddled at the end of this month, because I don't really want to fall into a romance rut or like a romance slump from reading too many. But again, like, you know, it is the spring and I knew I wanted to read quite a few romances, but after reading this, at least I finished this series and I'm all caught up with this one, but I don't really feel like reading another romance book until, well, again, I'm still reading Great Big Beautiful Life, but I want to read some fantasy books and some YA dystopian. If you see back there, finally going to start the Hunger Games series. I'm so excited. I literally cannot wait. And I'm actually going to be reading Amid Clouds and Bones by Ella Fields before I read The Hunger Games and, like I said, Great Big Beautiful Life, which were both on my TBR this month anyway. And Amid Clouds and Bones is a standalone romantasy, which is exactly what I need right now. I know it's still romance, but it's romance fantasy, and that's what I'd much rather read right now. And I'm really in a romantasy mood again. Even though I just finished Kiss of the Basilisk, I want some fae. Like, I'm craving some fae fantasies, so that'll be a really good palate cleanser. Even though usually I use romance books as palate cleansers. So let me just recap really quick which books we read in this video. Let me just grab them really quick, actually. But I didn't think I was going to finish one series in this video, but that just ended up happening because we ended up reading Practice Makes Perfect over Swift and Saddled, which is totally fine because, again, I'm just going to continue this in the next one. So we read these 3 romance books. So we did still read 3 romance books. So we read When in Rome by Sarah Adams. We read A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch by Sarah Hawley. And we read Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. So definitely, these were good, but they weren't as good as their other books, and actually their first books that I read from both authors. When in Rome, like I said, I gave a 3.75. I just wasn't really feeling the insta love, but it was still really, really cute and well written. And then A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch by Sarah Hawley is the second book in the Glimmer Falls series. And like I said before, I'm just so happy that I am making progress on this series and I'm almost done with it, because this has been on my TBR a hell of a lot longer than the When in Rome series. So I gave this one, I believe, just a 4 stars, or maybe it was a 4.25. But I really love Sarah Hawley's, and they're all named Sarah. They're both named Sarah, okay? Why did I just realize now that they're both named Sarah? Dummy. Let me just double check my rating of this one. This one I gave... I didn't review this one. I didn't review this book yet. Damn it. I thought I did. I reviewed Kiss of the Basilisk, but I never ended up reviewing The Demon Witch's Guide. Damn it. I didn't review Practice Makes Perfect yet either. Okay. Well, I think I gave it a 4 or 4.25. I'll just double check after this. And then Practice Makes Perfect, like I said, I gave a, which also by Sarah Adams, I gave a 3.5. So yeah, we finished or caught up with a series because, again, I have no idea when the next book is coming out in the When in Rome series, but it's going to be the last book. So, and then like I said, we're on the last book of this as well. And then, like I said, I'm going to read Swift and Saddled at the end of this month. And then I'm going to read Lost and Lassoed and Wild and Wrangled in June. So then I will be all caught up with that. Not June, May. So I'll be all caught up with that series as well. And I'm going to be reading The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes and Sunrise on the Reaping. So I will be all caught up with The Hunger Games as well, which will be such an accomplishment for me. And then, like I said, reading the third book in the Thursday Murder Club series. And then I'll only have one book left in that series. And finishing the Glimmer Falls series, which will be amazing. I'll be so happy about that, but also the third book has been on my TBR a lot less time than the first two. I mean, it's still been on my TBR for like a good 7 months, so more like almost 9 months. I'm gonna say 8 because it came out like in the middle of August, so that's still a decent amount of time. So I'm so glad I'm going to be finished with that series. So yeah, that is pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hold on one second. Let me just check what I actually rated. Sorry, I cut myself off. I wanted to double check what I gave A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch, which is 4 stars. So yeah, great progress on these. And I'm so happy that I caught up with the Sarah Adams books. So now I've read 3 of her books. I actually have read more of her books than Sarah Hawley, but like I said, I'm going to be caught up with Glimmer Falls very soon, and actually I really want to, finish the series. I want to read, Sarah Hawley's romantasy book, which is called Servant on Earth. The second book is coming out later this year, I think in like September or October, but the ARCs are also available for that. I do have 4 arcs I still need to read because I actually just got another one. But I still have The Love Haters and It's a Love Story, which I'm going to read both of those in May because they both come out in May. And Made for Each Other, but I'm not even going to read that until like the end of June or like early July because it doesn't even come out until July. And then the other one is A Scar in the Bone by Sophie Jordan, which is the second book in the Fire in the Sky series. Well, that's not what it's called, but it's the second book because the first book is called A Fire in the Sky, dummy. So I'm very excited to read that as well. That doesn't even come out until like October, so I don't have to read that anytime soon. But it sounds very interesting, and like I said, since I'm in a big romantasy mood, it might be read sooner rather than later, but we'll see. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Can I speak? Please like, subscribe, follow me on my Instagram, SVW819. Please like and subscribe. Follow me on my Instagram at TBW819. I'm not going to say to check out my Poshmark. Check out my Goodreads. I'm going to leave it in the link below. I don't know why I always forget to leave a link below. But follow me on Goodreads. I always post over there all of my reviews of my books. So I don't know why I never say that. I also did join Fable, but I don't really update it as often as Goodreads. Even though I thought, like, my Goodreads info would be... It was uploaded to Fable when I put it in, but... I'm going to shut up now. I feel like I'm talking way too long, but... What was I going to say? But my April info was not automatically imported because I imported everything from March. It just says import your info from Goodreads, and you can just... do that so easily, but then I would have to update it and add the books that I'm reading, which I'm like, I don't really want to do that, so we'll see. But yeah, that's it. Keep reading. Bye.